Triplets are the most common used form of tuplet, and in their basic form consists of 3 equal notes which are played in the same time as 2 of the same notes. In sheet music they are identified by the number 3 or 3:2 above or beneath the notes of the triplet. The number may also have a curved or square bracket around the notes which form the triplet. The duration of the triplet varies depending on the notes used. So we could have a half note triplet which will be played in the same time as 2 of the notes, that is, in the same time as a whole note. We could have a quarter note triplet which will be played in the same time as a half note. We could have an 8th note triplet which will be played in the same time as a quarter note. We could have a 16th note triplet which will be played in the same time as an 8th note. We could have a 32nd note triplet which will be played in the same time as a 16th note, etc. All these examples of triplets are in their basic form and have a triple feel to them, like a word that has a 3 equal length syllable. In fact, this is the way how many music teachers would teach how to count a triplet, by associating them with 3-syllable words. For example, the word triplet could be modified into a 3-syllable word, triplet, and used to help with counting, or the word Saturday, Saturday, or any real or made up word which has 3 equal sounding syllables. To remind you of what beat the triplet starts on, it could be counted with the number of the beat. For example, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 a day, 2 a day, 3 a day, 4 a day, etc. With the 16th note triplet, which is played in the time of an 8th note, the 2-syllable sound could be added to the number of the beat or the and between the number of the beats. For example, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and But whichever system you use, the sound of the syllables must be of the same length, so when playing the notes they come out equal and evenly spaced. Obviously the use of syllables is to help develop this inner sense of rhythm, but once developed you will not need these syllables to aid you. The quarter note triplet in its basic form will be the most difficult of all of the above to play, since it lasts 2 beats in 4/4 time. However, it can be counted using 2 8th note triplets, which might make it easier to visualize. Nevertheless, the quarter note triplet has a certain feel to it which makes it easy to tap out, and so I would suggest that you tap out these rhythms like a drum beat to get the feel of them. One hand could tap out the main beat, the other hand could tap out the triplet. This will help to internalize the rhythm. As well as being found in its basic form, the triplet can be modified so to include 1 or more rests. Here you would count the triplet the same, but not play a note where the rest occurs. The triplet can also be modified so that the notes are split into smaller subdivisions. This would mean that the triplet would have more than 3 notes, but should still be treated as a triplet with a triple feel to it. The triplet will still last the same amount of time as an equivalent triplet in its basic form. The notes of the triplet can also be tied together or to other notes preceding or following the triplet, and may also be accented, which together will lead to many variations within the rhythm of the triplet. Let's examine this by looking at 2 extracts from a Sonny Stitt transcription. When working out how to count notes, it's probably best first to work out where the main beats occur by counting the duration of the notes in accordance to the time signature. Here we have only looked at 4/4 time, but triplets occur in other time signatures as well. Also, if the number 3 is not indicated, then the notes should not be treated as a triplet but as regular notes with a regular rhythm. The first extract starts with an 8th note rest followed by an 8th note, which adds up to a quarter note and so occupies the first beat in 4/4 time. The next few notes form a triplet identified by the number 3 above the notes. It looks complicated, but if you compare it to an equivalent triplet in its basic form, it will make more sense. The first note is the first note of the triplet, the last note is the last note of the triplet, and the middle notes are simply the middle note of the triplet subdivided into smaller notes. To count it, you would treat it like any normal triplet, in this case on the second beat. So 2 triplet or 2 a day, depending on what syllables you use, but you would count the middle notes as if split in 2 and split again. Imagine you were counting 8th notes. You would count them as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and etc. Now imagine you are counting an 8th note and 2 16th notes. You'd count it as 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. The ratio of the note duration is the same here. So the normal triplet would be counted as 2, trip, let, and with a modified middle note would be 2, trip, and a let. You might want to click your fingers twice for each note of the basic triplet, which will help with the timing of the subdivisions. 2, trip, and a let. 2, trip, and a let. Once you get a feel for the rhythm, then you will not need to count them. The next triplet has the last 2 notes played as a single note, which is tied to the following note. The last triplet is in basic form with the first note tied to the previous note, so the whole phrase should not be too difficult to play. The second extract that we'll look at has a 30-second note triplet at the start in basic form. Here the counting will be the same but quicker, as the triplet will be played in the time of a 16th note. The next 2 triplets are exactly like that discussed above. The last group of notes has a triplet within a triplet, but again should not be too difficult to work out when compared to an equivalent triplet. The first note is the same and the last note is the same when compared to a triplet in its basic form. The only difference is the way the middle note is subdivided. Basically, the middle note is split in 2 and a triplet played instead of the second half. Obviously, different artists will use triplets differently. For example, in the Charlie Parker Omnibooks, the different triplets are mainly in their basic form consisting of 3 equal notes, though these notes may be tied to other notes, whereas Sonny Stitt has the triplets split into subdivisions. Closely related to the triplet is the sextuplet. Here we have 6 notes played in the same time as 4 of the equivalent notes, which can be viewed as 2 triplets joined together, so should not really be a problem. Here we have a sextuplet and 2 triplets, and if you listen carefully, they both should sound exactly the same, so the counting should be the same. Well, I hope you found this video helpful, and I will be adding more videos on rhythm shortly. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.